Frozen in this moment, the last, and I know it. Think about the winners with hands with the coldest. Think about handout, shit, you're still growing. Think about the world, now we didn't even notice.
A big hello and welcome. Can everybody hear us out there? I hope you can. It looks like we're live. Welcome. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and we are on LinkedIn as well tonight. So we're really getting fancy with all our different outgoings. We are joined by, what can I say? Again, you're going to see, there's not too often I go real fanboy on situations, but this is one of these times where you're going to see me turn absolute fanboy, like a little girl meeting probably the Backstreet Boys back in the day. That's what you're going to see right now. This man is, I've been a fan of this man since probably 2009. When he first started getting it, maybe 2008, we're going to find out when it all started, but I think it was around 2008, 2009, when he used to do YouTube videos with his dodgy socks on, his clean white socks that used to be always black by the time he would finish his videos. But we're joined today by the absolutely amazing and wonderful Mr. Johnathan Lewis. He is basically, what is this? He is my version of the Godfather when it comes to DJing. Learned so much from this guy. I probably wouldn't be in front of you now if it wasn't for the likes of this guy putting his stuff on YouTube and the likes of this idiot learning. That is that simple. Like I said, guys, an idiot's version of life. That's what I try to put out there to you. So if I press this button, hopefully we can add him to the stream and we can get things going nice and smoothly. Johnathan, Mr. Ellaskins, how are you, sir? How are things?
I'm good, thank you very much. Thank you for the introduction. I'm humbled.
Come here, my man. Like I've said to you 1,000 times, it's a huge fan. Huge fan. I still remember the very first video you did all the way back in the day when you had two little race cars.
Yeah, that's it.
And you used it to visually show how to mix tracks and get the same beats together and stuff like that. After that, then I was hooked. The dodgy socks and even the dodgy white van. We must ask about the dodgy white van as well. Way back in the day, the white transit van that you used to drive all the gigs to.
I know.
Crazy times, but you got through it, and we still managed to make a living from it, like all of us. You know, we get to the hairy points of being DJs, but we managed to get through it. But go on, tell everybody how it started. How did Johnathan Lewis become Ellaskins? Then go on, explain it to everybody.
Well, really, we've got to go back to the early 90s and late 80s, because I always had a video camera with me, just taking pictures and video. I remember going to raves back in the day, and people were like, "Get that camera out of my face, what are you doing?" Now people are begging for the footage because they want to see, because no one had a mobile phone,
Yes, of course.
And I remember, I think it was 92, 93, I wrote a book, or not an actual book, it was like a magazine, and I called it Coffee Morning Mixing. And it was basically a little magazine, and I put an advert in DJ Mag and sold some.
Wow.
And then, this was like mid-early 90s. But anyway, the video YouTube shit sort of started 2006.
I was 6. I was late to the party then. I was 3 years late.
Yeah, well, it started 2006. And when I started doing them, I soon found out I was the first person to give DJ lessons. There weren't any. But I didn't think anything of it. I just thought, you know what, I'll just do my shit and chuck it out there. And that was it. And it's always been the same. I mean, I've been helped along the way by companies giving me music and kit and stuff like that. But it's still rough and ready. There's no green screen. There's no lights, camera, action, and a frigging crew behind me. It's just
crew.
Me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. It's just me doing my shit. I make mistakes, but fuck it. Everyone makes mistakes.
That's it. Although this looks a very fancy backdrop, this is basically just charity shop curtains and one LED uplight. Although it looks fancy, It ain't. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, look at you. You've got a backdrop. I'm in the kitchen.
There you go, mate. And we just wing it. And we try to make it look professional as best we can, but we just wing it.
No, you're good, man. You're good.
I appreciate you. So then it all kicked off then, the YouTube videos, and like before there was TikTok and before there was all this type, it was YouTube videos and vlogging and stuff like that. And like what made you then sort of say, fuck it, let's go put these gigs out there and let's try something different? Did you just say, we'll just see what happens, and it sort of snowballed from there?
What, the actual videos you mean?
Yeah, the videos and stuff like that, like, to sort of start doing gigs and stuff like that, like.
Yeah, well, I started doing gigs. The first gig I ever did was probably when I say proper gig, not really. I mean, I was 9 at the time, and this is a true story, right? The local Sunday school I went to wanted me to play the music.
Yes.
So I took, I remember taking a wheelbarrow and my sister's record player to the Sunday school gig. And I can't remember the date, but it was when Ian Jury brought out his track, Hit Me With Your Rhythm Stick. Now, on the B side of that was a track entitled In I've Been Some Clever Bastards.
Mm-hmm.
And it went like, In I've Been Some Clever Bastards, lucky bleeders, In I've Been Some Clever Bastards. And then, but the more well-known tune was Hit Me With Your Rhythm Stick, which was in the charts.
Yes.
Yeah. So I played that, and I thought I'll play the B-side. So I put the B-side on. And one of the members of the staff walked up to me and said, I mean, it's vague. She said something like, I think you better turn that off because it's a bit rude.
Yeah. Politely telling you to shut up.
Yeah, but, and then, after that, mobile gigs, I've done pirate radio. I've had the police after me looking for my pirate radio station. I've worked abroad in Germany and Norway, Isle of Man, all over the place, really. But it's a passion to play good music,
Yeah, it is. It really is. And do you know what really annoys me about pirate radio, especially in like England and Ireland? It's so blacklisted. But if you go to anywhere like continental Europe or you go to even America, like people break their balls in pirate radio. You know what I mean? Like they're nearly allowed to do that before they get onto actual mainstream. Like pirate radio it's almost its own section out there. Like it's all legal section, but like here, like it's the same in the UK. I'd imagine you've got all the broadcasting rights and stuff like that, and all the people that are charging you extortionate amounts just to play a little music. They'll come and they'll take away all your gear, and they'll like, you might as well be selling drugs, really, to be fair. With the amount of trouble you get in just playing music, you know what I mean? It's like Facebook. Like when this lockdown happened last year. Now I know England is a bit more free now than Ireland. We're still under kind of lock and key, as if we were a teenage girl trying to get out to an under 16s disco. But it's bananas. But even when this lockdown started last March, I started doing like kids discos on Facebook, right? And just trying to do requests and trying to interact with the children and stuff like that. Because basically I'm kind of a wedding DJ, but also kind of a kiddies disco clown, professional clown, that's what I like to call myself. But Facebook, every single time you'd go live, within 10 minutes, Facebook would shut you down. Or they would find some way of shutting you down. You went into Twitch, you were shut down. You went into Instagram, you were... Like, it's so hard just to entertain people. But yet... You could probably go on a murder spree on Facebook and you'd get maybe an hour without even being shut down. You know,
you could find a video of someone being decapitated and it would be shared everywhere and people would go, love it.
Yeah. Whether you want to entertain a couple of kids at home because they're literally locked inside their houses, you get shut down. You know, it's strange, man. It's a funny world out there where they seem to pick on some people and not the others. But so that was your very first gig, a wheelbarrow and a record player.
It was indeed.
I can still remember my first gig. Did it go well? My first gig went okay. It didn't go great, but it went okay. It gave me enough confidence to go back for the second time.
Yeah, I can't remember enough, to be quite honest, because it was such a long time ago. But that the record that I played, in During the Blockhead, stands out, and that is the reminder of my first ever gig.
Well, we'll say your first ever proper gig, with actual proper paying gig. Do you remember
that? Excuse me. Yeah, I do. It was in a hotel in Towyn, which is it's sort of north of Abu Dhabi, in between a place called Abu Dhabi and Barmouth. Mm-hmm. It was a hotel, it was a wedding, and I even had to use someone's box of 7-inch singles because I didn't have enough. And my dad drove me there. I can't remember how much I got, but it was probably about 40 or 50 quid. And I can remember it sort of on the seafront, and it was sort of September, October time. But that's sort of all I can remember about it, really. But that's a very long time ago. That's like the early 80s.
Was your dad telling you how much you weren't going to do this for your future, or was he happy that you were just getting out of the house?
I can't remember. I think probably what was going on in his mind is I can't wait till he passes his bloody test.
So you don't have to drive him anymore.
Yeah.
So then everything kicked off then with the YouTube videos and stuff like that. Like you were saying there that you never realized that there was actually YouTube training out or videos for DJs out there. Now, like I said, I've learned an awful lot from you. Now you said you just do your thing, but did you try and find, like, it's very hard nowadays to find value out there. Were you trying to push out something all the time? Like I know the practice and enjoy thing. Where did that come from? That's a great, even just take away from DJing or anything. That's just a great sort of life motto, just to practice and enjoy. You know what I mean? Like that's fantastic. Where did that come from?
Do you know what? I have no idea. I just said it. Again, it's one of those things, that it's like at the end of the videos, I'd be saying something like, all right, to begin with, thanks guys, or see you again. And then maybe it just happened, because in life, like you said, it's not just about DJing, it's, practice and enjoy. And the philosophy behind it is really simple, because when you practice something and you make mistakes, your mind starts to get into a negative rotation. And then the more you practice it, the worse it gets, because you've got a negative outlook on it. Whereas when you do something wrong, if you enjoy your mistakes, then it's a positive. Do you see what I mean?
Yes, I get you. Yeah.
So you make a mistake. Most people, they make a mistake and they think, damn, and they get angry.
Yes.
Whereas if you make a mistake, but you enjoy the mistake, you go, you know what? Whatever, I made a mistake.
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
what
yes,
the hell?
Yes.
You're making it become a positive. Therefore, it in itself will inspire you to do it again. And in life, what you find is if people try something and they go into that whatever they're doing with a bad attitude, it's not going to work. But if you go in it with a good attitude, it's more likely to work, or it's more likely that it eventually will work because of your mindset.
Yes, of course. That was one thing that I actually took from your videos. It was one of the videos you did, I don't remember when, but you did a video on song choice. And you were like, if you played a song and everybody left the dance floor, don't panic. Just let the song play through. And all right, you kind of owned the fact that you missed a song. You know what I mean? Don't start panicking. If you see people leaving the dance floor, continue the song and then go again. You know what I mean? But that was one of the things that I took from, like, even to this day, I still remember you saying that, turning around saying on your song choice videos, you said, look, you can't hit everybody with every song. So
that's it. Well, very quickly, you see as well, if you play a song and yes, indeed, the dance floor vanishes and you quickly take it off, people will know then that you have played the wrong song, and they're like, he knew he played the wrong song. But if you make sure you've got big balls and you go, you know what, don't give a shit. I'm going to play this track because it's good. Let it play till the end, and then fine. Because you see, the psyche of people, after you've let it play, for all they know, it could be the bride has requested it.
That's it.
The 18th birthday party person has requested it. And the reason you're playing it is for them.
Yeah, 100%. What I've learned from that is, and especially weddings or even small functions, that if you're playing kind of a risky song, it's always good to have like a request afterwards. So that, like, if you're doing a wedding or something like that, and like I always say to the brides, like, pick 10 songs. I don't like technically doing playlists. I will do a playlist for a bride if they ask, but you have to have freedom, because what the bride and groom might like won't be what Aunt Granny likes over in the corner, or what Granddad likes over in the other side, or what Aunt Mary from down the road likes. You know what I mean? And you have to be able to almost interact live with them, that's what you are when you're playing music. You're not just there pressing buttons. And I always say, oh, if you can't be a musician, you be a DJ. But like, that's fine. I appreciate that. I couldn't play. I can't even play the spoons. All I can do with spoons is eat with them. But you have to be able to read a crowd, and that is the most important. You're not just a jukebox. You're an entertainer. And you've got to be an entertainer. You've got to be able to read the room. Like I had a wedding about 7 or 8 years ago, and the guy was heavy into 90s dance music, real Europa style, not exactly rave, but we'll go the chart 90s stuff. Rhythm is a Dancer, played live, all that type of stuff. Like the sort of 90s charty dance, not really the rave dance stuff. And he says, right, at 12 o'clock, I want everybody to have glow sticks, and you're going to switch off the lights. And at the time, I was doing entertainment packages for pubs. So I had hired 2 girls to go around, paint all the guests. Well, not paint the guests, but paint people in bars and stuff like that. And then we turn out all the lights, and we just have a blackout light, and it would all show up on their faces and stuff like that. But he wanted that for his wedding. And I was kind of going, Jesus, man, I said, there's a lot of suits and stuff like that. Like, like the average wedding goer in Ireland is not going to be 25 to 30. It's going to be the aunts and uncles, and it's much like England, you know what I mean? And Wales it's the elderly people you get married for, really, you know what I mean? And he wanted me to do this, and I was like, I really didn't want to do it for him, but I said, look, he's paying, so you got to do it. So 12 o'clock came. I sent out the girls to start painting the bride, the groom, everybody, and a lot of strange faces I got back from it. And the father of the groom came up to me. The father of the bride, came up to me halfway through, and I was doing my bit. I was doing all the 90s requests that he had asked for, and he turned around and he says, "You're the worst DJ ever." And I says, hang on a sec. I said, I appreciate what music's being played here. I says, it's not exactly my choice, but this is what the bride and groom want. I said, I'm not allowed to do requests, but this is what they want, So I always ask whether you want requests or not, because I've got a funny story for that one as well. But he turned around and he said, you're the worst DJ in the world. And I said, trust me. I said, I do not want to play this music. So I explained everything to the man, and he said, okay, that's fair enough. And went about his way, and sort of all the elderly people sort of headed off to bed, and I was left with maybe 7 or 8 people from like a 200 people wedding. And who does that look bad on them? You've got to you have to find the balance. And then from that point on, then anytime I get requests from bride and grooms, like specific genre requests, I turn around and go, look, I'll play 1 or 2 of the songs, but we'll see how it goes after that. Because everybody's got their go-to wedding. Like, you can pull out a wedding song there that no matter what type of wedding it is, you'll nearly fill the dance floor. Your ace in your pocket type of song, But you've got to be careful out there. You've got to be able to read the crowd all the time.
Let me give you some advice here.
Yeah.
All right, and this, and anyone else who watches this, and you'll get it. It's an analogy for you, and the analogy works with the industry we're in. Imagine you're watching a firework display. Okay. Now, a firework display, a good professional firework display, is like an ocean. It sort of it doesn't just go bang 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 and then finish. It's a wave. You get a flow and it dies down, and it builds up and dies down. But and this is a great way of getting a booking. If someone wants to book you as the DJ, what you say is that you are the last firework of an amazing display, New Year's Eve display. You're the last firework. And what you do is you explain this in this way. A firework display costs a lot of money. Sometimes it can cost tens of thousands of pounds. And when someone's invested tens of thousands of pounds in the firework display, they're not going to have a sparkler at the end. What do they finish off with?
The big bang.
Always the big bang. Therefore, by definition, if they're going to spend £300 on a cake, £400 on flowers, £1,000 on a dress, £1,000 on the car to take the bride, £20,000 on the venue and the food, only an idiot would spend €200 on the DJ who finishes the night. We are, in essence, the big bang. And that's the biggest part of the night. And if you invest in that, guess what? People will remember the entire day.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's what we are.
Way. Yeah, that's a fantastic way of looking at it. I've never looked at it that way. I was always told I was very lucky when I was DJing. There was a guy who took me under his wing, and he kind of taught me as an apprentice more than anything else. I was wrapping wires and doing all that type of stuff and doing gear before I was ever put behind a mixing table or anything at all. So I was brought up like an apprentice. I was there every night. I'd set up his gear. Every night I'd take down his gear, and I would just sort of learn how things flow, which is fantastic. You know, I wasn't technically as one of these bedroom DJs. I thought I was David Guetta after I played 2 songs on pirate software that I had bought. You know, I did the whole CD thing, did the whole MP3 thing, did now doing software stuff now. But I was very, very lucky, and he always had a great one. And we sort of came up with it together that a DJ has to build his night like a pyramid. He says you start here and you go and you go and you go and you keep building the music to get to the point at the very top. And once you're at that top, then you go boom, and that's when you let people have it. And it's much the same as what you were saying there with the grand finale. With we were as a pyramid, we were building it and building it and building, and then you hit the top. And that's when you have people right at your fingertips with their hands are singing and everybody's going and everybody's enjoying themselves. That's how you know you've had a good time. You know, when there's when people are singing when you finish playing music, people are enjoying
themselves.
That's it.
And if they walk out, you know, humming the last song that you played, then you've done it. You know,
it's
you know, and also very quickly as well. Some people seem to think that if you get lots of requests, it's brilliant. No, it's actually not. The DJs who don't get people coming up to them all the time, people asking for requests, they're the good DJs, because by definition, it means you're playing the right music and everyone's happy.
Precisely. I always do that too. I have a funny. I'm sure you've got funny request stories as well, but I've had a little bit of a one there. I was very, very close to, like, you know, at the end of the night you get, because we over here, it's much the same there as well. There's a band goes on first and then the DJ comes on afterwards. Is it the same? It's the same with, it's different.
Yeah, same.
It's different in America, where they book the DJ for the entire night, where the DJ turns up at 8 o'clock and finishes at 12 o'clock, where we only start at like maybe 12:30, 1 o'clock, and go then to sort of 2, 2:30, maybe even 2:45, depending on the venue, you know? So by the time we get to even start playing music, people are fairly liquored up now, to be fair. Like it's decent enough timing to come on, but it can make or break you too, because if the band is really, really bad and you come on, they've kind of killed the crowd for you. Then on the other side of it, the band could be really, really good, and then the DJ could come on, and if the DJ doesn't follow the band straight away, boom, he's lost it as well. So like there is that part of the night where you've got to kind of go, what do I do next? You know what I mean? Where is the fine line? But I was DJing anyway, getting everybody into the center of the dance floor to say goodbye to the bride and groom. And this guy comes up and goes, will you play this song for me? Now, I've said this story before on the podcast, but I'll say it again here because you'll understand the irony of it. But he says, will you play this song? It was like 2:15, and I was getting ready to get everybody. So we play this one song. The bride loves it. And I said, what is it? He said, Robbie Williams' Angels, right? And I said, do you know what? That's a great song. People sing along to that. Do you know, it's a bit like, you know, Sweet Caroline. You know, everybody knows the chorus to it. Everybody can sing it. I said, that's a fantastic song, right? But between sort of me getting everybody ready and getting everybody into the center, he came up again. And that sort of put my back up then, like, you know what I mean? I started going, why is he really forcing this song onto me, you know? So after about 20 minutes or so, he comes up the third time and he says, you playing it? And I says, yeah, I'm going to play it now. I said, but you got to give me time. I said, I got to understand these things. So the third time, the bride copped your man coming up to me, right? And she said, what song did he come up for? Whatever song he said, do not play it. And I said, oh, don't worry. I said, it's nothing bad. There's no swearing in it. I said, it's Robbie Williams' Angels. And she said, Jesus fucking Christ, don't play that song. Don't play that song. And I was like, okay, why? She said, me and him used to kiss each other at the teenage discos way back in the day to that song. That was our song. So could you imagine if I had played her final song with her new husband to a song that she used to kiss her ex-boyfriend, her teenage boyfriend, to back in the day? I was this close to playing it. I had it cued and everything. I was so close to playing it. And I was like, ooh, that was a close one. So Sweet Caroline got the nod, and everybody went home singing. But I was that close to kind of ruining the bride's night. So I get very, very sort of cagey now when people come up and ask for songs. It's it's different. I'm sure you've got much the same stories. Like, you know, you get all these sort of weird stories along the way that you have to live them to sort of make sure people even believe that they're true, you know?
Yeah. Well, the worst time I've ever had is I had a playlist. It was a wedding locally in Aberystwyth in a hotel. They gave me a playlist. And they gave me, way before the evening. I had most of the tracks ready. Little did I know that when I turned up, I had to play the playlist.
And that was it?
Yeah, and that was it. So the bride came up to me and said, "You got the playlist? Yeah. Have you got all the songs?" I said, "I've got most. I probably had 90%, 95% of them." And I wasn't allowed to play anything off that or that wasn't on the playlist. So I'd have people coming up going, "Can you put Cha Cha Slide on?" No, I can't.
Yeah.
And they're like, "What? What?" I said, "I'm sorry." And it got to the stage where I said, "Listen, you need to ask the bride."
Yeah.
And I remember one person going to the bride and then her going like this. She was like,
Bridezilla.
"No."
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, the night went okay. It was all right. But there was no energy to it because you couldn't do anything. These were like B-sides of songs and, stuff from the 70s that no one knew, and like an 80s track that was, I'm trying to think, Brass in Pocket, I've
Never
got
even heard of it.
And there was an old Police song as well, Message in a Bottle by the Police, that just very, some were really intelligent tracks, but not wedding material.
Yeah.
There you go.
Nice songs that you could play at like dinners or something like that, background dinner music.
Yeah.
But you're not going to get everybody up and dancing,
No.
And you don't. And that's one of the things that I always try and pride myself on, is that I'll have the great granny at 90 years of age dancing, and like it's a tip for any DJs out there, like. It depends on what genre you're going into. Like, if you're going to be a nightclub DJ, you're not going to be a wedding DJ. If you're going to be a wedding DJ, you're not going to be a nightclub DJ. Now, you can there is crossovers, certain fellas can do certain things and stuff like that, but you're not going to go in and the band has just finished doing a big send-off and then instantly play Tiesto. You know what I mean? With everybody on the dance floor. Like, you have to play what the band is going to do next and keep everybody dancing, because at the end of the day, you're paid to entertain people and to get people to dance, not play what you think is good music to a certain degree.
Here's a really good tip for you. All right. Again, it's pure logic, but not a lot of people know this.
Yeah.
Right. Listen to what the band's playing for their last track. Okay. And while that track is playing, you find another track that's the same key.
Mm-hmm.
Or better still, if they're playing a track in the minor key, you play a track that harmonically mixes with it in the major key.
Mm-hmm.
Also, what you do is you ask the band members, you just say, "Look, do me a favor, say thank you to the bride and groom, and here's our last song." So what they do, okay, and this is just pure logic,
mm-hmm.
They play their second from last song. "Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. One more. Okay, good night. Thank you." And then off they go with that track. You know what that track is?
Yes.
Now, because they have finished saying good night, thank you, as soon as it fades away, you bring your track in, the same key, same melody, different track. The crowd are not going to move an inch because you've kept the continuity and the flow of the music.
Yeah.
Boom. It's not even a case of they go. They stay there.
They stay there, yeah. They'll keep going. They will. And that's another thing that I always say to the brides and stuff like that is, like, pick 10 songs, because every song nearly has a partner and every partner has a partner. So if you have 10 songs and you know one song to match each one of them songs, that's 20 songs. That's basically an hour's worth of music. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and that matches the bride's playlist. So the bride will actually have an hour of her own music to drag people up for, and then you just have the other 2 hours of just the normal wedding floor or the wedding dance floor fillers, and that's your set done. I know it's really easy to say because, like, shit, man, I'm DJing now since I was 18. I'm 33 now, so however long that is, and it's really easy for us to say this now, how easy it is for us to do it because we can see it. But when you get up there and, like, we've all had that horror movie when you press play on the first song and the first song doesn't work, or it's gone error cannot find in library or something like that on your software, or it just, oh man, everything just goes boom. I've had that happen to me where the bands are packing up and the bands have switched me off completely, where they've thought it's been one of their plugs, and the floor will be full, and then boom, they hit my plug and they just shut everything down, and that could be a hard one too.
Here's another tip as well. a lot of DJs, they like to prove a point. They like to have it loud as anything.
Yeah.
So the band finishes, and then it's boom.
Yeah.
Or, for example, let's say there isn't a band, and they finish eating the buffet, and so the bride or the groom or someone says, "Right, can you start now?" Most DJs, it'll be full on bang. You just don't do that, because what happens all of a sudden, you've shocked people, and they're like, "My God, what's going on?
Yeah.
This DJ's an idiot." What you do, and what I tend to do, from a scale of 1 is background music, 10 is you're deafening the fuckers. I'll start off at 4, 4 and 5. I'll just play, even if I'm playing the sort of tracks that I know will get people on the dance floor. I keep it relatively low to begin with.
Yeah.
Because again, people have, they want to relax, they want to come on the dance floor and talk, and they just want to sort of start to, it's a bit like a warm up, in a race. You don't just go to a race and run. You've got to warm up first. So these people need to warm up. But what you do during the course of the first 4 or 5 songs, you slowly start to increase the volume. And then you've got them. You see, one of the worst things in the world to do is when you start your set, just start really loud. Because what you've done is you've caused everyone to look at you. And by definition, if the first song you play is crap and it doesn't bring anyone on the dance floor, you look a fucking idiot.
Yeah. They've made their mind up, boom, right there. And that's where that pyramid comes in. You start here and you build it and you build it and you build it and you build it and build it all the time. And like, that's, like I said, you just got to keep going with it. It's one of them, it gets better with time. I'd imagine this is what racing cars drivers go, like, it gets easier. It gets easier. You see these racing drivers, they do it at 200 miles an hour around these corners, and like,
I know.
you think, how could that ever get easier? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how is that ever going to get easier? But it does. And it's like DJing, you can take the good with the bad with the good, and you just keep going with it, So we're going to have to ask, whatever happened to that van? I know you were putting it up on eBay at one stage. Your dodgy white van. Whatever happened to that white van?
I went through a lot of vans. I mean, I've never been in a position to buy a brand new van, and unless all of a sudden I won the lottery. I don't think I would. But, what would happen is transits. If you buy a white transit,
which
after 10 years,
I've had.
After 10 years, it all of a sudden magically has another color, and it's orange. And generally the orange starts underneath.
Yes.
And I remember taking one van to get MOT. And I remember the guy he was underneath it, and he came up with a big smile on his face. And he said, "Do you intend to drive this away?" I was like, "Well, yeah." He said, the chassis is broken. He says, I was like, "Oh dear." And I think I said something like, "Can it be fixed?" And he just sort of walked away and went, in other words, like, they're just rust buckets. So I went through quite a few.
But I remember the one where I started, you had the dodgy white socks, which you always used to complain about your white socks when you were doing your videos. And then the white van, then you had, what was it? It was a transit. I had a transit too. And like that, they start off as your best friend, and then by the end of it, your worst enemy. But they go for years, though, to be fair. Like, they go on nothing. They really do.
They just rust, though. They just rust. They rust.
It is, well, not so much here in Ireland. England is, because you put a lot of salt on your roads. We can't afford salt on our roads over here in Ireland. We just have to risk it. And our vans and the underneaths of our vans seem to last a lot longer than most other European places, which is very strange in Ireland. I know that. But yeah, I had a transit van. I rode it off, as most DJs do. They always end up riding off their vans sooner or later. But that was a dodgy van that you used to always drive around, the big white transit. That you had it up on eBay at one stage to try and sell it for like £5 or something. And
I know.
That was funny. I think I even bidded it on one stage. And that was great crack. That really was fun. But the one thing I will say about your videos, and it's not, it's a compliment. I'm not trying to sniff your ass or anything like that, but you always gave great information in a very easy and understanding way of doing it. Like, there wasn't this.
That's cool.
There wasn't this high powered, oh, do this, and you've got to do this for 6 months before you get to this. The racetrack was the racing cars was visually the best thing I've ever seen as a DJ to explain how to get songs and BPMs to match. Because you can show all the wavelengths in the world, and people are just seeing these things go up and down, up and down, up and down. But the way you had the two racetrack cars either side of each other, I thought it was genius. I genuinely did. I still watch that video every now and again just for the pure genius of it, because it was fantastic. It genuinely was. Like, I remember watching that video. Like, it was one of your first videos, I'd say, way, way back in the day.
Probably was, yeah, sure.
And I still remember to this day. Like, so, like, that's a great video. And then, of course, you had, and again, I'd have to ask this story as well. How did you manage to rope in our friends over in America? You had Brian S. Red as well. He used to come over onto the videos. He became a member of the family, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he started watching me in 2007, I think, and then he ended up being like the American version of me, you know. So I mean, he's all right. He's a good guy. He does his thing. I do my thing. You know, we've met up. We hook up. You know, but again, in America, everything's bigger over there. You know, including egos.
Yeah. That's definitely. And then there was an Aussie guy as well. He came on the scene for a little while as well. He sort of.
Oh God, yeah.
What was his name? Shit. If he's watching this now,
yeah, I know.
He used to be mad for the lasers. That guy could put on a laser show. In fairness,
yeah, I can see him now. But he's become a preacher. He actually, yeah, I think he's become like this legal. I don't know the correct term, but he helps to get people married. I'll have to look into it.
Oh Jesus! My buddy just became one the other day.
Jesus.
Yeah, a priest. What are they called? Fuck.
Yeah, I know. It's sort of like a legal version of being able to. Yeah,
it's what Joey did in Friends. He did the online course. Oh man, what is it? A spiritualist? No, it's fuck. I ain't gonna remember it. No.
Don't worry about it.
It's gone. But he's now doing that, is he?
Yeah.
He was a postman.
Oh, he was?
He was a postman for a while. I haven't seen any of his videos on YouTube in a very, very long time, but he must have gone off it.
No, you see, this is it. You know, again, people come and go. I mean, you know, I've been doing this shit for too long. When I say too long, I still do it. I enjoy it. You know, it's good fun. You know, there's a lot of history behind it. I mean, you know, I used to, you know, we're not going to talk about a certain subject, but I lost a house, you know?
Yeah. It happens. And like, do you know what?
Yeah.
This kind of is I wouldn't say the word therapy, but it's great to have an outlet to put some of your energy towards it, that it can, you know, make you feel a small bit, I don't say better, but I'm struggling for the words here, but you kind of understand what it's not exactly therapy, but you can come online and you can, you know, you can have fun with people if they interact with you and stuff like that, or if you do a live feed or something like that. It can be a sense of therapy to sort of see what people are saying, or, you know, reaching out to people and stuff like that. And that is what is great about this type of stuff. And like I said, please don't ever stop doing the videos, because I'm a huge fan for a very long time. Like I said, very, and I've had a couple of Facebook pages, and I've always gone back and followed you. So you probably have about 10 of my Facebook pages following you there, your friends.
Do you watch the comedy ones?
Yes, I do. And your bat ones were the best. I did quite like your stories in the bat. That was
talking all that bath. I've still got to do some of them, you know. But also, did you ever watch Mr. Mechanic?
Was that the dodgy mechanic that used to try and fix things?
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. And then there was Mr. Mechanic. I've got another one I haven't done in a while called Victor Vet.
No, I don't remember him now. I don't
remember. Yeah, Victor Vet. Chef Petit Pois.
Yes.
Yeah. And then also Mr. Safety.
Yes, I remember him. That's almost like a lineup for a Saturday Night Live type thing, though, isn't it? Really?
I've got to do more of those, because I mean, the crazy thing, you had you know, Chef Petit Pois, that was a great mechanic, and Mr. Mechanic, who was a great chef. But Chef Petit Pois couldn't cook to save his life, and Mr. Mechanic couldn't have told you a steering wheel from the exhaust.
But look,
But
man.
it's true because Mr. Mechanic here, helping you out there save money by no, hold on. Oh, never mind. So I should have reeled it off, but go on, carry on.
But like I said, man, it's great to have this outlet. That was the word I was looking for all this type of stuff. And you know, you find some crazy videos on YouTube, and I've always found you highly entertaining. I genuinely have. I love your energy. You're a bit like myself, a ball of energy. And like I always say to people, especially when you're booking me, I'm not the suit and tie type wearing DJ. You know what I mean? I don't come up in a suit and tie. I come up well dressed. I'm not going to turn up in fucking ripped jeans and a t-shirt. You know what I mean? But I'm not the formal type of DJ. You know, the one that does all the and ladies and you know that real sort of
God, bored me to tears.
Yeah, do you know, I'm the fucking Egypt that gets up in front of 200 people on the stage after the band is finished there, taking down their gear, and I'll do the Macarena with everybody. You know what I mean? Or else I'll jump up and I'll do the cha-cha slide with people. Or I'll get up and I'll do rock the boat. Because at the end of the day, you're not there just to play music. You're an entertainer. And that's one thing that you can't... Like, every DJ thinks they're a DJ. And you know what? There's good DJs out there, but not great entertainers. You know? I won't be the world's best DJ. 100%. I can barely scratch, and I can mix all right. I can do that. That's fairly easy. But I can barely scratch. I wouldn't be able to sit down with a set of turntables and be able to do much with a set of turntables. But you give me, and now what are we on now? Probably 300,000 CD with 20 songs in it, and I'll entertain you for 2 hours. Yeah.
Well, here's the deal. Here's the deal. All right. If you can't scratch, you can't mix, you can't beat mix, it doesn't matter. The key to a good DJ is track selection. Yeah. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
That is it. Yeah. Because you see, the thing is with music, you know, you've got to imagine, you know, let's say you're listening to an orchestra, and all of a sudden, you've got Jimmy from down the road, from number 22, who's very pissed, just had half a bottle of vodka, comes in with his trombone and starts playing something completely different to the rest of the band. It's going to make the whole thing sound terrible.
Precisely, yes.
So if you're playing a track and then you bring in something else that doesn't mix harmonically, or even if it just blend it, it's going to sound terrible.
Yeah. It's
the transition from one to the other. And if you can master those transitions, you know, mixing is fun. The next thing you should try and do is always bring the next track in on the one. So what I generally do, most weddings, is same with you, a lot of it is just the 7-inch version.
Yeah.
Just cue it up on the 1, 1, 2, so the last one's finishing 1, 2, 3, 4,
boom.
1,
yeah.
2, 3,
4.
Away you go.
Yes.
So then as well, you don't have to mix them in, because even if one's 120 BPM and the next one is 100 BPM, so long as it's, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. You see, that's it. You see people dancing fast into slow.
Yes.
And it's again, it's about the flow.
It is about the flow. And like you said there, it doesn't matter. Your song choice is the thing. And what I always like to say to people is, and especially you get young fellas coming up and they go, they see the Tomorrowlands and they see all them type of DJs and all that type of stuff, and they all think that DJing is like that. You know what I mean? You see the 50,000 people that are throwing their hands in the air, and I'm going, yeah, there is moments like that, but the moments are maybe 50 or 60 people rather than 50 or 60,000 people. You know what I mean? And it's doing kids discos when there's only 5 kids there at an 8th birthday party, and you know, you've a lot of grind to sort of perfect your art with every job there is there. It's not, you don't get to the major nightclubs by being in major nightclubs all the time. 1 or 2 DJs might make it to being up there and stuff like that, but you got to put in the hours, man. You got to practice it, and you got to enjoy it.
Also, it's like any big industry. There's a pie, and I'm afraid you're not going to have a piece of it.
Yeah,
it's like that with the entertainments in general. With electronics industries like Facebook, for example, you know, I heard recently Mr. Zuckerberg will buy up other companies, social media companies, and what he does, he buys them up, and then he just gets rid of them.
Yeah.
Rid of the competition.
That's if you look at it, there only, although there might be like 100 car companies in the world, there's only 4 actual car companies that kind of own them 100 car companies on the other side of it, like
Yeah.
Ferrari, Porsche, Volkswagen, and Audi, or even Audi's probably owned by Volkswagen or something like that. So they all buy them up and they all just let their people do their thing, and they squash. You know, you become. Go on.
Yeah, what happened last year that changed my perception of law and who's on top and whatnot is what happened with Trump. Now, I'm not political and I don't watch the news, but when I found out that Trump was banned from Twitter,
Yeah.
that made me think straight away, you know what? The governments aren't in charge anymore. They're not in charge.
No.
It's Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Google.
Yeah, the big
Apple.
tech. The big tech.
They're in charge.
Yeah. And they promote all this free speech and stuff like that, you know. But if you mention COVID or you mention anything like that at all, you get Facebook barred, you know, or Facebook jail or something like that.
It's happened to me.
But
So
wait, how can they? How it's very contradictive, sorry, because they say you can do one thing, but you can have free speech under our rules. You know, it's But that's what happens. And like I said, if Twitter is all about free speech and expressing yourself and stuff like that, they shouldn't have taken Trump down. You know what I mean? They should have allowed him to go. That regardless, he was the president of America. He is an ex-president of America, and for them to have that power just to come along and go, right now, my friend, you're done.
It shows. It shows how much power they've got. Yeah.
It really does. It really does. A little other question for you before we wrap it up, because I know you're busy. You were fishing today. How was the fishing? Is the weather good over there?
Oh man, it's beautiful. The sea was a little bit choppy, but it's nice sun. I mean, it's amazing.
We're going through a heat wave here in Ireland. It's 27 degrees. Like, we haven't seen 27 degrees in Ireland, I think, since the priest started saying that hell was going to come get us if we had sex before marriage. That was the last time we felt this heat in Ireland. It's melting. Enough. It is melting here in this country. We're not prepared for it. We only do kind of just mild overcast with a hint of mist. That's when Irish people are cooks. Yeah, you know what it's like. Yeah, we don't deal with massive amounts of with heat or anything like that. But a question before we wrap things up: do you think technology is helping DJs, or do you think it's hurting DJs?
Oh, do you know what? That's really controversial.
It is, isn't it?
Because again, analogies back to cars.
Mm-hmm.
I think most people in America do automatics.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I think really, if you're going to drive a car, you should learn to drive stick or geared, no matter what.
Or manual, yeah.
So or manual, yeah. So with DJing, I think really, you should learn how to DJ on vinyl decks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because technology it's becoming. We see what people don't see. All right, they don't see it. Everyone takes the new effects, the new apps, the new way you can mix and where you can bring this, that, and the other as this great feature that's helping you. But it's like the same in industry, and it's like in big industries out there. Tech is taking over and getting rid of people. And if you're not careful, you're going to be turning up for your wedding going, hi, press a button, and there'll be an algorithm that will decide what to play because there's a camera looking at the crowd, taking the vibe off them and playing the music. And I mean, it does everything now.
We're gonna copyright this idea right here and now. Before anyone else takes it, we're copywriting that idea. That is that's we'll hack some photo booth or something like that and hook it up to an MP3 player or something, and that's how we'll do it. But go on, continue on with the story. I understand where you're coming from.
Okay, so you see, so what I'm trying to say here is that when a DJ, back in the day, when I started, you had to have a vinyl collection, and you were guaranteed 100% that no one had the same vinyl collection as you. It didn't happen. Yeah. Nowadays, some guy can buy a £200 controller, or €200 controller, €200 speakers, €100 on flashy lights, go to their friend, buy them a bottle of Jack Daniels, and copy the hard drive. Yeah. They've got a record. They've got a collection.
Yeah. They don't even need to do that now. They can just get Spotify. You can have two old. Do you know what I saw, which was kind of ingenious, but kind of scared the absolute shit out of me? Was a guy had a €40 mixer, 2 channels, just one channel, up channel, right? and a master, two sets of speakers, not two sets, but two speakers, one light, and he had two old phones with two different Spotify accounts. And all he was going was one to the other. And there wasn't a song he didn't have. That scares me because there was a time where DJs not necessarily had the power, but DJs had the ability to say yes or no to songs. You know what I mean? Like we were the guys who always had the newest music. I feel like now it's got to the stage where we don't have the newest music anymore. Like we're trying to catch up on what's the newest music because it's being played on TikTok or it's being played here or it's being played there, or you get some asshole in the middle of a nightclub or middle of a bar coming up with you, would you play this song for me? It's on my phone.
I know. We see. I don't really like mumble rap or anything like that. But there's one tune I really do like is Savage.
Mm-hmm.
You know that tune, the hip hop tune, because I am Savage.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I think that is sick.
It is cool. There is some good new music coming up here, but on the other side of it, man, it's frightening. I think we've also kind of lost our power because we don't have the new music anymore. That the music is there for the masses, and it's not just there for the masses as being, it always was there for the masses, but it was our job to have control of what was being played. Now we don't have that control, and that's what scares the absolute shit out of me.
Yeah, but you see, a professional DJ who's got a good knowledge of music, we're the ones that can pull out those, I haven't heard this in ages.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
You know? It's like, for example, Let Me Clear My Throat. You know DJ Cool? Let me clear my throat. No.
Yeah.
I've got the original 12-inch, which is Gaz, Sing, Sing. This is from Sal Soul Record from
from ages ago.
1981, 82.
That's even before my time.
Yeah, you know, so I can play stuff like that. Candido, Jingo, you know, the Brothers Johnson, Stomp, tracks like this.
The original mixes, you know, and the even you've got the 7-inch mix of Beach Ball and stuff like that. You know, the real nice, the real nice ones that you won't ever hear on Spotify or anything like that. And that's great to have them. But you still, I think, like, knowledge is key. You get paid for knowledge. Like the old analogy is, you ever heard the story with the guy with the hammer on the boat? No. It's a really, I'll be really quick about it, but it's this guy pays millions for his boat, can't get it started, right? Gets all these guys and the computer guys come in, they scan the boat, they can't find any problems. They're like, fuck, what's wrong with this? He says, look, we've no way of fixing this. It is just what it is. You're going to have that noise, bang, 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 in your brand new boat that you spend millions on. There's no way we can fix it. So he says, right, well, okay, fine. This old boy, anyway, was like, Jesus, that sounds like a bad knock in your engine. He said, can you fix it? He says, I've been fixing engines since I was knee-high to a grasshopper, right? So he turns around anyway, and he goes, will you show up tomorrow? And he says, yeah. The old boy turns up with a hammer, a screwdriver, and the vice grips, right? Comes down anyway, gives it an L bang, tightens this, fix the boat, the banging is gone, right? Your man thinks that he must be God himself is after fixing his boat, right? The guy's delighted. He said, you were here, what's your bill? He says, this is my bill. Now, the bill was a substantial bill, you know? He says, Jesus Christ, your bill is, we'll just say for argument's sake, €1,000. You were only here for 10 minutes. He says, yeah. He says, 10 minutes. But you see how much time I had to put in. He said, you had all your computer boys here, and they didn't know. He said, I gave 2 taps of my hammer and a small screw with my screwdriver, and that knock is gone. He says, that's what you're paying for. You're not paying for my time. You're paying for my knowledge.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
And that's it. You know, and that's what I believe when you're hiring me. You're not paying me for my good looks. You're not paying for me because I can do the Macarena or the Cha-Cha slide. You're paying for me for my knowledge that I can pull a song out of absolutely anywhere that people haven't heard in a long time. And they have a good time doing it. That's what DJing is to me. I don't know whether it's the same for you or what everyone else did there. I think it's the same. The day you stop enjoying DJing is the day you've got to give it up, I think. That's
and also very quickly as well, when I started DJing in, really I suppose the 80s, if I had someone who was 40, they were born, 70, 60, 50 in the 40s. Yes. Okay, so they were born actually in the 40s. So they grew up in the 40s. They liked, that they were just about getting to know the 50s music, 60s and 70s. So, of course, in the 80s, you were predominantly playing 50s and 60s.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, new DJs don't know how frigging lucky they are, because when they see someone who is 60 and 70, these guys, okay, in the 90s, were in their 30s, 40s, and 50s,
Yeah.
and they were actually fucking ravers.
Yeah. And they were
You see?
they were getting it. They were getting it to the rhythm is the dancers and all that type of stuff
Yeah,
too. They were giving
exactly.
it sticks. Yeah.
Exactly.
I-
You see, so that's it. So if you see someone who is 65, 70, and they've got a walking stick, you don't now. People automatically think, oh, they want to hear the 50s.
Yes.
They didn't. They were babies.
Yeah.
These guys want to hear
Yeah.
Robin S. Show Me Love.
Yeah.
Real
Brilliant
to
song.
real.
Yeah.
Robert Miles.
Yeah, man, you're reeling them off. Do you know what I mean? That is music to me. That was my kind of like I sort of grew up. My teenage years were kind of in the early noughties and sort of late 90s, and that was what music was to me. And it was, and I suppose that's what 80s people think as well. And they always say, like, my parents say that there was no such music like the 80s music, but I was lucky because I had the background. I got the background of the 80s and 90s in me, and then you just bring on the noughties. So like anytime there's a 50th or a 60th now, they're looking for the 70s, 80s, and maybe a small bit of 90s, and
that's it.
It's perfect.
That's it. I mean, I did a radio station for 10 years, and I've got an original 12-inch and remixes of Robin S. Show Me Love on Champion Records.
Jesus.
The white labels, I've got a jingle made for me by Destiny's Child. I know, before they were big.
That's saying something now, in fairness, isn't it? I bet you wouldn't get a jingle made by them now, though.
No chance. No, I mean, the crazy thing is, I met DJ Cool in Vegas, and he did this is DJ Cool with Ellaskins, and I interviewed Coolio as well. That was cool.
I remember that. That was at BPM, or not BPM, Mobile Beat.
Vegas, yeah.
Vegas. That was what, maybe 2000. We'll say 11?
10 or
10,
11,
yeah, 11.
Maybe, 10, 11.
I remember that, yeah. That
crazy times.
You had to defend him for a long time after that, because he was he was under the weather, we'll say. But you got a lot of slack for interviewing him, and I was going, Jesus, what the fuck are people giving out? Like, this guy is, like gangster rap. Like, he started it. Well, he didn't start it, but he sort of, he's up there with one of the godfathers of gangster rap. You know what I mean? Coolio with that Gangster's Paradise song. Like, you can play that now, and it's still
it drops.
A banger. You know what I mean? Like, there's no doubt with what he's done. But no, I never made it the Mobile Beat. I used to always love the Mobile Beat videos because the gear was just so rad. But that wasn't used to interest me. It used to always interest me with DJs, with the parties afterwards in the rooms. That used to always be the fun times. I used to go.
Hell yeah.
That used to be good crack. Now, I've made it, like I said to you before, I made it to BPM in, where was it? Not Newcastle. It was in
no, is it Birmingham? NEC?
Yes, the NEC. That was it. Yeah, I went 3 years in a row to that.
Are you going to come this year?
No, COVID, man. I'd have to come back to Ireland, live in a house for 2 weeks, and pay €2,000 just to come back into the country.
Jesus.
Do you know what? really bothers me is that there's an Irish pub open in every other country in the world bar Ireland. How Irish is that? You know what I mean?
That is ridiculous.
It is sickening. And I own a pub as well, which even fucking makes me even more angry about the whole lot of it. But that's a story for another time. We're DJing talking tonight. We're not talking about politics and stuff like that. But I made it over to BPM. I loved BPM. And there was another guy who used to always come up around your stuff as well. He used to have them 4 decks. Do you remember him? I came in and saw him live as well. What was his name as well?
Yes.
He used to do some savage mixes. He had the Pioneer 2000s.
No, hold on.
Bald-headed guy.
Hold on. Do you know what? I've had the mind at the moment now.
Delamentary, that was it. Yeah. I haven't seen any of his stuff in a very, very long time either. But he was sick, man. He could do some
he's very good.
He could do some serious mix. And then there was used to always entertain me was the guys from American DJ. Was it Scotty? Was that his name? The sort of crowd pleaser guy. He used to get up in the real crazy suits. Was it Scotty? And he used to throw out all the stuff as well. He used to be like a hype guy for mobile or for American
Oh yeah,
DJ.
there was a couple of them, but again in America, everything's big. Everything's too big, you know.
Everything's crazy. It really is. And everybody's got a job in America. That's what I do love about America. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've got people that clear tables and only clear tables. And then you got people that only bring the drinks to only bring the drinks. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
It's crazy. That's what the one thing I do love about America. There's jobs for everybody if they want them. Now, we've got the most important part of my podcast, right? And this is our 30-second rapid fire quiz. Okay? This is the most important. These will be the hardest questions you've ever taken in your life, right? While I'm getting ready, I must ask you, right? What is your go-to song? If the dance floor is empty at a wedding, what is your go-to song?
Or if it's completely empty, I would play Robin S. Show Me Love.
Yeah?
Because it fits every criteria. It's dance.
Mm-hmm.
It's happy feeling.
Yeah.
It's melodic.
Yes.
It's you sing along to it.
Yeah.
It's commercial.
Yeah.
It's commercial, and it's just bubbly. It's the thing is that 10, 20, 30 years from now, if there are still DJs, you will be able to play Michael Jackson, Billie Jean, Robert Miles, Children, ABBA. You'll be able to play Robbie Williams, Angels.
Never ever play that song.
No, but there are certain tracks that you'll always be able to play, and people will remember it. And the thing is with Robin S. Show Me Love, if you think as well, it's been sampled so many times that it's in people's psyche. It's there, imprinted. So if the shit hits the fan, put that on. They're there.
That's a great one. I'd always do sort of a section of 90s, and then you got like what my go-to song is, and it fits, especially if the band have finished really, really fast. And you've got two ways to go: either continue it really, really fast, or if you're watching
Irish Rover.
No. Yeah, I only know 3 waltz songs. We've got waltzes over here, right? I only know 3. So when people come up and ask me for a waltz, if I have to do 4 songs, I don't know anymore. Like I could never understand that music. I just can't do it. But my song is "Do You Love Me" by the Contours. You know the dirty.
Do you love me? Yeah. Do you love? Yeah, because it dies down.
It dies down. Yeah. And then it builds. Dirty Dancing, yeah, that one, and also that one goes very well with Jackie Wilson's Repeat, and that'll get every age dancing, no matter what age, whether the old people or the young people. They just gotta shake what their mama gave them, and they're my two.
Yeah, or similar, Lulu, you make me want to shout.
Screaming shit, yeah.
You make me want to shout.
Yeah, or what's I have another one that goes with that as well. Very, very close. Proud Mary. That's another one. Tina Turner, Proud Mary. That's a floor filler, guaranteed. And it gives people a little bit of time as well. You can play a really, really fast song, and then you can hit that with that one, because that really slowly starts, and people are like, they get time to get a drink, and then they realize before they know where they are, they've already had their break, and they're going, oh, Jesus, this is Proud Mary. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go.
But very, very quickly as well, what a lot of people don't know, all right, and this is a tip. This is a big tip. If you want to get the energy high in a room and the dance floor has disappeared, play a track in the major key that's uplifting.
Yes.
Bang. It lifts the mood. And the crazy thing is most music now is in the minor key, which is very moody.
Yes.
And, for example, New Year's Eve. What I will do with New Year's Eve is a New Year's Eve, if done correctly, is the easiest gig to do.
Yeah.
I will go through all my collection, and I admit this now, I'll look at the keys, and I will go major, 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 and I'll have a list of, say, 40 tracks. Every single one is in the major key. Mm-hmm. And I'm not joking. The dance floor is like, and most people don't get it. They don't understand because it's up.
Yeah.
It's high.
Yeah.
As soon as, I won't be playing, even if it's a dance classic, if it's not in the major key, I'm not going to play it.
Yeah, I do the same. I do much the same, because you keep people there. You know, like for a strange type of analogy, it's kind of like how a puppeteer is with a puppet. You know what I mean? You kind of have to keep things going to a certain degree and keep people there all the time, and they just keep wanting more. Like I said, if you have them singing by the end when you're finished and they're wanting more, you did your job. Right, we've got it, because I know you've got to go get your fish. So I got to wrap these up. So here we go. Hold on, Mr. Where did Ellaskins come from? Where did that nickname come from?
Very, very quickly, my daughter is called Ella, and when I was doing a YouTube name, not Ella, Skins. That was it.
Very quickly, very answered. That is it.
Right,
we've got 30 seconds. Which is worse, doing the dishes or washing your clothes?
Washing my clothes.
Do you keep your chocolate in the fridge or outside the fridge?
Outside the fridge.
Do you prefer Coke or Pepsi?
Neither. They're disgusting.
This is the most topical question now we get. What is the correct way to hang the toilet roll? Does it go over the top or does it go against the wall?
No, I don't have a hanger. I just put it on its side on the top of the toilet.
On top of the toilet. Yeah, I've got little kids though. That's the problem. Mine always ends in the toilet if I don't have a hanger. iPhone or Android?
I've got an iPhone.
Yeah, me too. Mr. Freshen. Your favorite actor, actress?
It's got to be Laurel and Hardy, and I'm going to admit this, Madonna. I do love her acting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At a hotel, you had a choice of a room, either the ocean view or a city view. Which would you prefer?
Ocean.
You a dog person or a cat person?
Cat.
And the very, very last one, Mr. Johnathan Lewis. What's your favorite day of the week?
Oh, it's going to be Sunday.
For all the times you go to mass?
No, because after the gig, it's time to relax. And also tomorrow, I'm going on a 70-mile bike ride.
What's the cycling? Explain cycling to me. This is a new thing that you've got involved in recently enough too, isn't it?
Well, I've always cycled, but only in the past 5 years I took it up again, and it's a great way to clear your mind. It helps. Yep. Really, I can do 100 miles and be physically tired, but mentally,
100%.
You feel amazing. Yeah, I recommend it for yourself.
I run. I don't cycle. That's my thing.
Okay, there you go then.
It's same. I much to say the same thing, but runners and cyclists, they just don't cross path. The cyclists can't see why runners do their thing, and runners just can't see why cyclists do their thing. So it's
let's leave it at that.
And on that bombshell, Johnathan, thank you so much for doing this. I really, really appreciate you, man, and thank you for all the videos over the years. You've helped me immensely. You've entertained me immensely, and thank you for just being you. I really appreciate everything you've done, and thank you so much. So really, really appreciate you doing this, brother. Thank you so much.